Okay, I think we should probably get going then, and hopefully a few more people could join us as they come on. Are you guys happy with that?
Yes, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the webinar. Thank you for joining. If you are a broker out there, or even one of the panelists, we appreciate your time. Some of you may have recently registered with Zephyr, or perhaps you don't know us all that well. Maybe you've not tried sending a case our way yet. But either way, welcome to the webinar. We'll give you a broad introduction to Zephyr. You'll find out more about how underwriting works here and some really good submission tips to help business fly through. You've got a chance to ask any questions. You can use the chat function to do that, which you can just probably open up and type away and get a question raised with the panel that will get answered. We might pick them up at the time, or maybe we'll wait till the sort of Q&A bit at the end, but we'll definitely try and answer your question. If we don't get time today, we'll get back to you afterwards. Most excitingly of all, there is a £50 Amazon voucher up for grabs today, and all you need to do to be in with a chance to win that is stay on until the end of the Q&A, and Angela in my team, who's behind the scenes, is going to enter all of those names into a spinning wheel, and she'll pick a winner at the end, and that lucky person gets the £50. An extra reason to stick with us. Right, some intros just before we get going. I'm Tim from marketing. I'm going to try and host the session today and keep things moving to time. We've got about 45 minutes, but probably from now about a bit less than that, and we'll get through the content and make sure there's some time for questions. But I'm joined by two of our buy-to-let experts. Elliot, why don't you say hello first?
Good morning, guys. So I'm Elliot Newey. I'm one of 3 regional sales managers, and I look after the North specifically. I've been around with Zephyr from the very start, and predominantly my background in financial services was underwriting and credit, and more recently in the sales environment.
And Gemma?
And I'm Gemma. I look after the Southwest as a team of 4 BDMs on the telephone. I've been in the mortgage service industry for about 16 years, and I've been with Zephyr a year now.
Okay, is there a particular region you look after, Gemma, and how many TBDMs are there out there?
Southwest, and there's 4 of us. Yeah.
I see. Excellent. Right, let me tell you a little bit more about Zephyr then. We are a specialist buy-to-let lender, and we focus on the sort of professional end of the sector. So, you know, guys like portfolio landlords or limited companies. Elliot's going to tell you a lot more about our kind of criteria later on and the kind of people we lend to. We might be a new name to you, but we've actually been going since 2018, so we're quite well established. We're part of a much larger group called Computershare. You may have heard of them. They've got fingers in a lot of pies. They started in the 1970s. They're listed in Australia on the stock exchange. They employ about 12,000 people across the world. They do loads of different financial services activities. They provide solutions in different markets. We're part of their business called Loan Services, which is actually the UK's largest third-party mortgage servicer. And alongside Zephyr, a lot of the people that work here actually look after a number of other mortgage brands as well. Collectively, we now manage around £43 billion of loans, which I'm reliably informed will make us collectively the 11th largest lender. So, you know, Zephyr might be a name that's new to you, but we are backed by a much bigger firm. Part of Computershare Loan Services is also the deposit protection service that you may have heard of. They're a large custodial scheme for landlord and tenant, you know, deposits. So when you combine, you know, our knowledge as a buy-to-let lender with the deposit protection service, we've got a huge footprint in the buy-to-let market, and it just means that we've got a lot of strong backing, secure funding, good systems supporting you, and you know that's really driving our business forward. Really, though, it's the people that make us stand out. You can see the kind of you can see some of the friendly faces there that work for the Zephyr team that Elliot and Gemma sort of mentioned earlier. They're all experts at what they do. They're all very, very friendly. We've got every region covered with an RSM or a TBDM. And behind the scenes, we've got a great team of underwriters as well, and you know, a broker support desk. And it's, you know, how we do things, it scores very highly with brokers. We send surveys out each time we get an offer, and each time we give a broker an offer. And, you know, nearly 90% of brokers rated the service from our RSMs and BDMs as excellent or good. And the other 10% said we were okay. So 100% of people were happy with the service they were getting from the people on this screen here, which is fantastic. And if you care about such things, our net promoter score at the moment is plus 45, which is really good, and we definitely think it's higher than average for the industry. So what I think you will get here is great help, friendly support, and really good service. So look out for us at events and site visits, or give us a call if you've got any cases, or send us an email. If you're not sure who to call the main number. You'll just get through to somebody straight away. Right, that's enough about the team and Zephyr and what makes us good. Elliot, talk about our criteria. Can you take us through some of the highlights quickly for the guys?
Certainly. So as you can see, in terms of what we lend against, we cover a whole range of property types. Everything from your very basic standard buy-to-let terrace property to your more complex properties of HMOs and your multi-unit freehold blocks. From a HMO point of view, Tim, we can allow up to 6 bedrooms. We can do licensed or unlicensed properties. We're not here to police. We are here to take guidance from the local authority, our conveyancing partners, and also our valuer partners. From a multi-unit purpose as well, 6 units, which is effectively 6 properties on one title, self-contained, separate utilities, your own front door, as you would expect. But these type of properties are high-yielding properties, tend to be. Therefore, a lot of customers are now going into this market. We also look after a lot of southern type of property. So for those who are aware of what deck access is, which is ordinarily a balcony which runs right round a property, we are open to that. We have no height limit on our tower blocks, and we're very much open to ex-local authority flats and houses. We sit in the new build market as well, and as the market is going down more of a greener environment, new build properties with A, B or C rating is particularly good for us, whereby we can offer 10 basis points cheaper on a product compared to your standard property at either D or E rating.
Like a green mortgage offer, I suppose, right?
Correct. Green mortgages, which Zephyr is certainly part of, as well as other lenders, is becoming more prominent now. Ultimately, the government are looking to kind of make the UK a greener country. So therefore, we're there to encourage customers who can either enhance their properties to get to A, B or C, or in fact buy a new build, which was going to be in A, B or C. In terms of what we're looking from a customer point of view, so we're there for your SPV or your individual. And the products that I've mentioned previously, there's no difference at all in terms of the legal entity. From an SPV point of view, we can do 4 directors. Between the directors, they can hold 60% shareholding, which allows additional shareholders in the background up to a maximum of 20% to be part of no due diligence and no personal guarantees. Individuals, we can do up to 4 applicants as well. Minimum age 21, and in fact, we have a whole range spectrum from an age point of view. So we can do applications up until 89 and end of mortgage up to 95. So again, it covers the kind of the first time landlord scenario 21 to more experienced future planning for your aging community. From a portfolio point of view, we have no background limit, Tim. So as a very big extreme, if a client had 500 properties, for instance, that's not a problem with us. We look to do affordability as a collective. So as long as the total rent covers the mortgages on an interest-only basis at 100%, then you're ticking the box with Zephyr. We can do individual transactions up to 2 million, or as a collective up to 5 million as a legal entity. And as I say, 95 at the end of mortgage term, which I previously said. And specifically looking at the individuals, so we have no minimum income. So when I say that, if someone is employed, self-employed or pension, then there's no specific figure necessary. The only figure that we do have required is for your type of landlord who all income is there to service lifestyle as well as properties, and that is £25,000 gross, which is the top line figure. There's certainly no upfront fee to put anything to us, so we do all our checks effectively free of charge. And when we come to change products in the market, and especially in a time where the market is changing products very fast, what we do at Zephyr is we try to give brokers as much time as possible.
Yeah, Elliot, you may have seen that there's a question come in there. Some lenders are giving little notice when rates change. How much notice do you give, and how do we secure the rate?
Okay, so it's a very good question. So when products are changing, what we would like to do is give as prior notice as possible. So within the last few rate changes that we've done over the coming months, we give at least 3 to 5 working days to do that. However, that's not a giving in an environment which is so quickly moving, but we will endeavour to give at least 48 hours notice to try and give you as much time as possible. In order to secure...
Yeah, how do you secure it? Yeah, that's the key thing, isn't it? In order to secure 48 hours.
Yeah, so you submit the application and pay the valuation fee at that point. That locks in the product. That still then allows you time to source the documents and upload. But the crucial point is, before the close of business of the prior day, you lock in the application by paying the valuation fee.
Got it. And Elliot, just for reference, your camera still isn't working. Maybe try turning it on and off again. But Gemma, could you bring the criteria to life a little bit from your point of view? Have you got a particular key case you've been working on, or the team have been supporting recently that you can share?
Not my region. However, there is a 65 portfolio case going through at the moment in London. That's dealt with by the BDMs. But I know on this one, all of the cases are assigned to the same underwriter. So there's only one person dealing with it, which means that he knows the case inside out. He's also doing every other day call with the broker and the regional sales manager. So they can, if there's any issues, they can bottom that out. And it's going through much smoother that way. It's a massive...
Just lost you there, but I think I was hearing that it's clearly a really big portfolio coming through, and I think one of the real benefits there is that the underwriter and the RSM and the BDM are kind of in quite regular contact with the broker to make sure the whole thing is processing correctly. Maybe there's a problem with your slides. Elliot, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here too.
Hi there, mate. So it's a bit early for a drink, I'll be honest. We're not celebrating that big portfolio coming in just yet, I don't think. But can you take us through some of your underwriting hints and tips based on your favourite Italian liqueur?
Certainly. So for all those individuals who've maybe been in the industry a while, Campari, which is a historical lending principles, which has kind of been brought to date with Know Your Customer. And in the current market where people need to act quickly to secure, knowing your customer or knowing the principles of Campari becomes more crucial. So if I was to go through kind of each one and what it really means from an underwriting point of view, so C for character. When we're saying character, it's ultimately, have you got confidence in your client during doing the fact find? Has your client got a track record of doing what they say they can do? And can they have the evidence to support what they said they can do? So in these type of scenarios, your portfolio type customers, have they been profitable? Have they been able to demonstrate longevity? That is the crucial of understanding the character. When you're going into more of ability, it's in terms of what people do they have around them from a team. So who looks after the properties? Where does the advice come from? And the experience to grow. When it comes to the means of proceeding, it comes down to the ability to service the loan and the profitability in terms of how is this going to look like going forward. From a purpose, why do you need the money to proceed? Are you asking for the right amount of money? In current times where funds become kind of restrictive of lenders, are you asking for enough money or not? That's the crucial part. From a repayment, how and when will the loan be repaid? And what are your future plans?
You can listen if you want. You might need.
And from an interest point of view, what's the risk of Zephyr? What security are you looking for us to secure against? And the documentation. Generally at Zephyr, we look to secure things by personal guarantee or first legal charge of a property. So understanding your client in all of this becomes so crucial. So when you explain something to an underwriter, he or she knows what the background looks like. You have to appreciate underwriters sometimes come across as being very picky, but as an ex-underwriter, we're there to design to understand the background, understand the risk, and where this is going to take us moving forward.
And I know, skipping ahead a little bit, speaking about underwriters there, we had a question that came in before from one of the brokers that's registered and has joined the webinar. If we place a case with you, are we able to speak with an underwriter if there are any issues?
So we do have the ability of speaking to an underwriter, yeah. What we tend to do is our underwriters will reach out to you at the part of the underwrite. If there's any additional documents, questions, the underwriter will pick up the phone and engage with you, as well as send emails so things is in writing for future. Also, if you want to call our head office and ask to speak to an underwriter, if the underwriters are available, they certainly will speak, or we will arrange a call back by the underwriter.
Okay.
The office, 99% of calls that's dialed in are picked up within the first 30 seconds. So actually, you're not on the phone for a long time, and we'll encourage you, where possible, to speak.
Yeah. Okay. And just thinking a bit more about when brokers do submit a case, and and they have to speak to an underwriter or not. What can you take us through some of the things we're looking to help it breeze through, so they don't need to speak to an underwriter?
Yeah. So I don't want to promote that we're a top-heavy information provider, but there is standard stuff that we need. So ID documents, so personal and address ID are a must, and these need to be certified as part of the submission process. From a proof of income point of view, we're not asking for months or years worth of evidence. So proof of income is by way of a single pay slip or the latest tax returns. EPC certificates, again, to validate the product selection that you've made. So if you're picking one of our green products, the EPC certificate would validate that it's actually an A, B, or C, or actually a D or E if it's not that type of product. For your HMO licenses, if it's a remortgage, we would expect to see that at application because it will all be in place. If it's a purchase application, we all expect to see the application to the local authority if it's deemed a mandatory licensed property. ASTs are required for all remortgages to us. If it's a purchase, for obvious reasons, there's no AST because you don't own the property. And from a deposit source point of view, this is an aspect where we get challenged on this on various occasions. So we need to see the original source of deposit. So for instance, if the money is coming from overseas into the UK, we need to see the legal documents if it's a property sale or property business. So it's just ultimately trailing back to where the original source was. If it's a deposit from a family member and it's a gift, then again, standard would be a letter confirming it's of love and affection and there's no repayment terms. And for all buy-to-let is unregulated, we do follow the guidance of the PRA. So the PRA, from a portfolio perspective, is 4 or more mortgage properties will be deemed a portfolio. Therefore, we insist upon a business plan, a cash flow, and a property schedule for all portfolios. These documents are not long-winded, so they're not encouraged to take hours to fill in. Your property schedule, which all portfolio landlords should hopefully have, is as simple as uploading to an external system. Your cash flow is very simple. Top line figure, costs, which gives you a net. And your business plan is as simple as who manages, what you do for all contingencies, etc. And then we have some general housekeeping documents as well, which Gemma will explain.
Gemma?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect now, thanks.
So, housekeeping-wise, documentation, there's a declaration. There's 2 declarations, depending on if it's a limited company or an individual. Then we have the direct debit mandate. The direct debit mandate, we need a covering letter for bank statement just to compare and confirm that the name on the direct debit mandate is the same as the bank account name and the sort code and account number matches up as well. There's the conveyancing information form, which the broker would fill out with details of the solicitor that's going to be acting on behalf of the client, whether that's a dual or separate representation, and if they want the solicitor to be instructed straight away at day one, or whether they want to wait until the offer has been produced. And then there's the early valuation instruction, so a client can decide whether they want the valuation to take place straight away, or whether they'd want to wait until the initial underwrite has taken place. Benefits with the valuation taking place straight away, obviously it's done, it's out of the way. However, if for any reason the sale couldn't proceed, they would lose the valuation fee, whereas if they waited until after the initial underwrite, if for any reason it couldn't go ahead, we'd refund the valuation fee back, as long as the valuation hadn't taken place, basically. And those documents would just be uploaded onto the portal once the application's been submitted.
And I know, Elliot, particularly, you're mentioning a number of different documents there that might be needed, but they're all on the website, aren't they? And if you have any problems with them, speak to your RSM or BDM, and we can obviously help you work through them. Also on the site, I know because we publish them every day by 9:30, you can see our average sort of turnaround times or service levels that are updated, you know, for the previous day. They've been pretty good and static for a while. So, you know, at the moment, we're able to give some quite good service levels, which you can see along the bottom there. But if, you know, you want to find out what the turnaround times are at the time you're, you know, about to place a case, go on the website and you can click a button that takes you straight to that information, and it'll be pretty accurate and updated. Obviously, some very complex cases might take longer, you know, and some of the ones that breeze through can be done even quicker. I know that they're kind of average turnaround times there, so often they're beaten, which is good. Okay, do you have anything more to say on this one, Elliot, or shall I move on to some Q&As we've had in?
Well, I would just encourage, from a website point of view, I know you touched upon that, Tim, but the website is very good from the kind of housing of all these documents. We have an affordability calculator as well, so you can test whether the actual transaction is affordable, or whether you can use the top slice or top-up method as well. But I would encourage anyone to visit the website to kind of get used to what it looks like, but also all our contact details are on there as well too.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Let's go on to the Q&As. Now, Jonathan's just asked one, which I will start with. Do you accept adverse credit?
Good question, Jonathan. So from a credit point of view, we're expecting clean clients for the 6 to 12 months. And when I say that, from an unsecured point of view, we expect no blips within the last 6 months. And for the prior 18 months, we will allow 1 blip. From a secured point of view, we're expecting clean customers for 12 months. And the 12 months prior to that, again, 1 blip. When I say blips, the crucial to this is part of the kind of Campari Know Your Customer. What has happened for them to do? Has it been a major life event? Have they not been aware of something? So understanding the backstory is key. When you're talking more specific of utilities or telecoms providers, we have the prospect of proceeding with them. But again, understanding the amounts, and the critical point to all of this is they need to be dealt with now. So we can't proceed where you have outstanding arrears, county court judgments, or still ongoing proceeding of these. Everything needs to be brought up to date, whether it's a principal thing or whether you weren't aware of it, but everything needs to be up to date as part of the application.
Okay, I hope we've answered that one correctly. We had a few questions in before the webinar, you know, from people that were registering. So I'm going to read these. I've got lists of them just in front of me down here. So first one is quite a broad topic. What do you guys think of the market at the moment, with Mast Haven closing, Molo stopping lending, and Kensington being sold and other firms being up for sale?
Very, very good question. But the first thing I want to emphasise before going into specifics is Zephyr is here for the long term. We have a secure funding line in the background. As you touched upon, Tim, we have a big corporate behind us who have been around since the 1970s, so longevity is the key. And we're not going anywhere time sharp. So we're going to be here for weeks, months, years ahead, first and foremost.
Thank you.
In terms of the wider market, the funding market is difficult at the moment. There is no securitization market available at the moment, purely because no one is available to value what things are worth. Hence why the securitization market is closed at the moment. Lenders who may have retail-backed funders might be in a stronger position at the moment, because ultimately you're lending savings rather than using funding from a funding model. But there is going to be some other casualties, no doubt, as we continue through this. Ultimately, what's happening in the likes of Ukraine, what's happening with the likes of fuel costs is ultimately contributing to all this. The Bank of England have raised rates recently, and no doubt they'll probably may rise again or 2 times again before the year's out. But ultimately, it's about more at the moment the branding. We need to be seen to be active, which we certainly are. We are certainly available to speak, and let's see where things go as a wider market. But ultimately, again, just to kind of emphasise the point, we are here to stay, and we won't be closing our doors.
That's good. I mean, you may well have answered this question, but I'll ask it again because it's kind of a slightly different angle. Challenging times at the moment. How secure is your access to funding? I guess Elliot or Gemma, that the brokers, the last thing they want is to be placing a case and it reach offer, but then the lender to have to close its doors. Unfortunately, how secure is Zephyr's access to funding?
So our funder, we have very strong connections with our funder. They have obviously confirmed to us their support, so we will continue to work with them through this difficult period. Additional funding lines may come up in the future, who knows? But as we speak here and speak now, we have a very strong, secure funder for the foreseeable.
Okay, let's move on to a couple, 2 or 3 more specific ones about criteria. Do you do let to buy?
Another good question. So let to buy predominantly would incorporate consumer. However, the way we look at these is, if the let to buy is going to create the first buy to let, then no, we can't do that. If the let to buy is going to create the second buy to let, so ultimately the customer already has a buy to let, then yes, we can proceed, because it would be classified as a business transaction and not looked at as a consumer. So yes, we can look at them on the basis of your customer already being an existing landlord. Okay.
That sounds like a qualified yes. Are gifted deposits from family members acceptable for limited company apps?
Yes, they are. But the crucial aspect is, when you're gifting, what are you getting back in return? Whether it's shareholding, whether it's a return at the end, we need to understand what is in terms of the gift. If it's just love and affection because it's your daughter, your son, your brother or whoever, then fine. If it involves shareholding or any repayment terms, we need to understand why, and each case will be looked at on merit to what the advantages is for this individual doing so.
Okay. I think you covered this earlier, but in the positive sense, but what's the minimum EPC rating we accept? I know we've got offers at A to C that we'd call a green mortgage that are discounted, but what's the minimum EPC?
So the minimum that we accept is E. Anything rated at F, we wouldn't consider. That would be deemed uninhabitable. So we are there from A to E. The A, B, C is the green world. The D and E are non-green world, but we will accept.
Okay. Just a couple more actually that came in. Can a client use their own solicitor, conveyancer?
So the answer is yes, but I'll explain why. So if it's an individual application, then yes, they can use their own solicitor as long as they've been added to our panel. This panel is organically growing, if they're not already on there, and they can act for both the applicant and us. From an SPV perspective, which is your special purpose vehicle, they can use their own solicitor. However, from Zephyr's perspective, we need to use one of our solicitors on panel. So in essence, it would involve 2 legal representatives, 2 legal bills, which is the responsibility of the client. And from a time point of view, it could draw out things a little bit longer because they've got to talk to one another from different places, whereby if it was single representation, one firm doing everything, it could be far quicker. But the answer to your question, Tim, is clients can use their own solicitor,
Okay.
but on different terms.
And the last question I've got that came in, thank you if you did do that. If you've still got time to do a final question before the prize draw, if you've got any thoughts. But the last question that came in, some of my clients are worried about rising rates. What's the longest fixed rate you offer? So
we offer 7-year fixed. 7 years is very recently come to market with us. We offer 7-year fixed on a 2% product fee and rates starting from 4.69. We can do up to potentially 80% on a standard product on a 7-year fix.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you if you did ask a question. I think we should move to the prize draw now. I think there are 6 or 7 maybe brokers listening. But what's going to happen now is Angela in our marketing team has entered the names of everybody that survived the Q&A and has put them into the Wheel of Wonder, the Wheel of Fortune, I should say. And Angie, if you take over the screen now, I know that you're going to kind of spin the wheel, aren't you, and work out who's won. Oh, there's more brokers, sorry. That's good, even better. Well done to Victoria. Sorry, I don't know your surname, but I'm sure you do. That's great. We'll get in touch straight after. I'll just retake the screen again, like that, and like that. And
congratulations, Victoria.
Yes, congratulations to Victoria. We'll get in touch with you afterwards. I'm sure we've got your email address, well, we must have, because we've sent you invites and things and you've accepted. So we'll work out how to get that Amazon voucher to you. I'm sorry that the other guys were unlucky and didn't win, but hopefully it was an informative session and it was worth joining anyway. Just a kind of final word of thanks, say thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be in touch in a few days, probably with a follow-up, and this will be available, this actual whole recorded presentation will be up on our YouTube channel and it will show on the website, etc. So we'll get in touch with that. Do scan those QR codes before you go if that's useful to you, or just come to the website, zephyrhomeloans.co.uk. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn or sign up for our emails, and you can keep in touch with Zephyr and yeah, just stay up to date with the different information we put out there. Thanks for your time today. We really appreciate it. And with that, I'll say goodbye.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.